Thank you very much for coming, and I welcome you all for this wonderful day at the Blockchain Economic Forum. This session now is about Launchpads, and I think we are having an exciting hour ahead. And thank you very much for the panelists for showing up. We have a wonderful condensed knowledge here presented on the stage this morning. And what I would like to do in the beginning, first few minutes, is that everyone just briefly introduces himself, herself, so that everyone knows who we are dealing with, and then we'll get straight into the discussion. So no modesty, I will start first. And my name is Patrick Schueffel. I work for LATOKEN. I'm heading the Singapore office, and we are tackling the Southeast Asian markets there. And I guess, as you may know, LATOKEN's ambition is to provide anyone with the possibility to tokenize virtually any asset. And on the way of getting there, we have created a highly liquid crypto exchange. That's my background in 30 seconds, and I would like to give the panelists now 30 seconds to briefly introduce themselves. Christian.
Hey everyone, my name is Christian Ferri. I'm the president and CEO of BlockStar. It's an advisory and capital fundraising firm out of San Francisco. Myself, I've been in the space for almost 5 years. That makes me a dinosaur, I guess, at least for this space. I've seen a thing or two. I've been advising companies, all sorts of companies, public, private, token sales, non-blockchain, and so forth, helping them raise capital, on investors, writer, and a speaker, and a father. So that's it. Glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Christian. Lydia.
So my name is Lydia, and I am the CMO of Superbloom, which is a simplified crypto trading platform. Actually, Chris is one of our advisors, so highly recommend him as an advisor. This is the 4th company I've been CMO at. I originally got into tech when I was the founder and CEO of a venture-backed ed tech company that went through Y Combinator. And before that, I went to law school. So I'm one of the few people in crypto who actually kind of cares about regulation, but I'm not a lawyer now. Anyway, that's about me.
Hi, so my name is Mykyta Safronenko, and I'm regional director in Applicature. And as Chris mentioned, so he's dinosaur. We are only 3 years old. I would say like we are humans. Neanderthals, okay. Yeah, so we are a boutique blockchain agency, 75 people, 3 years old, 25 blockchain developers. We launch in ICOs. So in last 1.5 years, we launched 20 plus ICOs. And for last 3 years, we made 30 plus custom blockchain solutions. So doing pretty well, and whole aspect from white papers, smart contract development, custom blockchain solutions, and marketing for ICOs. So, and yeah, so.
Hi, good morning. My name is Illia. I'm from design industry with design background, and I'm in blockchain around 2 years. I run ICO agency as well. Full stack ICO agency, and also I'm ICO consultant and advisor. I worked with around 15 ICOs already for the last couple of years.
Thank you very much for the introduction. Just a quick ground rule. I would like you also to discuss with each other, so it will not be a dialogue between me and the panelists, but feel free to jump in whenever you want to. To get the conversation started, I want to address my first question to Christian, actually, because you wrote the ICO Success Framework. So let us know, share a bit about this ICO Success Framework. What makes a successful ICO? I think we are all very keen to hear.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you. Good question. So the ICO Success Framework, ISF, it's a very simple framework, but effective, right? And it's basically composed like 6 elements, right? We have the foundation, like a house, and you have the building blocks, okay? 3 and 3. And so the idea of the ISF is basically to guide folks and companies that want to do ICOs to do the right thing. So it's almost like a best practice framework. On the foundations, you have community focus. So the community focus is basically understanding that you're raising capital mainly from people, not from VCs, not from PEs and so forth, from the community. And so the idea is that if you're raising capital from the community, everything that you do in your company, in your action, should be devoted and geared towards helping and the community, right? Again, you're not going to have that phone call on a Friday with a VC, right, to provide a status report on how you're spending your money. You'll be constantly reporting to the community on Telegram, through AMA, and so forth. Because if you don't focus on the community, you're not going to have a crowd sale, right? Part of the word crowd sale has the crowd in it, right? Remember that. The other part is about being relevant. So the way to stay relevant in this business is by asking your question, asking tough questions to yourself before you jump into it. So let's say that you have to think about a token model, right? I'm actually writing a book about it. Okay, there are 52 token models out there, and companies still choose 2 or 3. So how you stay relevant, you make sure that you think about it. You basically take a step back, and you don't jump into it. You're trying to come up with something innovative, creative, unique. Listen, feedback, right, from your neighbors, from your community, people in the business, and trying to guess something that is not mainstream, right? That's how you stay relevant. And just kind of moving along, the 3 building blocks on top, right? The three elements, building blocks on top, are business, tokenomics, and compliance. So number 1, you're not building an ICO. Back in the 90s, you're walking down here in Silicon Valley, say, hey, what are you up to? There was somebody who would say, hey, I'm building a company, a startup. Now you're walking down the aisle and say, what are you doing? I'm doing an ICO. Well, let me tell you, an ICO, it's not a business. It's a fundraising mechanism. So make sure that you get your business mechanic down right. Unique value proposition, free cash flow, projections, break even, all those things that sustainable revenue model, right? I was actually interviewing a client, and I asked this young gentleman, what's your sustainable revenue model? You know what the answer was? The ICO, right? So that doesn't work, right? That's not how you build a business. So start with the business first. Once you have that, find the token that fits the business, not the way around, right? So make sure that the token enables the business that you're building, okay? That's why I want you to really kind of spend time thinking about what is the token model that makes sense. That's very important, right? It can make or break a business. Once you have the business defined and the token that fits it perfectly and enables it, now you have compliance, right? Now you start thinking about, is this a Reg D 506B, 506C for the United States, Reg A+, Reg S, whatever it is? What is the right jurisdiction? What is not the right jurisdictions? All those kind of legal and compliance requirements, right? So business, tokenomics, and compliance.
Thank you very much. That's very interesting insights. Lydia, maybe the next question goes to you, as you are also doing an ICO very soon, to my knowledge, and you have this advisor sitting next to you. So maybe you could share how you do that, how you also address the community, which obviously is a very, very important point.
Yes, I mean, the community takes up so much of the time, especially now where we have 60,000 people in our Telegram group, and they're around the world, so it just never ends. You know, to Christian's point, you really do have to pay attention to your community to make sure that everyone understands what's going on, how the money's being used, what the sort of long-term scalability of the product is. I think there are too many companies that are raising ICOs as just a flash in the pan way to raise money, when actually they probably should be doing a Series A and Series B so they can continue to grow. In our case, it makes much more sense because to do this, because the way that we work is we're built on the blockchain, which honestly I keep seeing token sales that aren't, and two, it's the way that our members get access to these token sales is we have the money up front to secure allocations for them, and then they get rewards and then are able to purchase more. As far as our token sale, the way that we were able to get so many members and so much growth is we leverage the partnerships that we have with the companies coming in. So we have really high quality token sale deals, and so we work with those communities, and we basically reached out to them and had them share that this is how Superbloom works, and they should register for an account so they can find out about other companies like theirs that's doing a token sale. And that really was the best way to get high quality people. I think there are a lot of airdrops and other things you can do to generally just get a large crowd, but you want to make sure you're going to have the stickiness factor. So we're really looking for people who are actively looking for token sales, one after the other, and aren't just trying to find the free airdrops out there. So that's been hugely important for our token sale. We did most of it through private syndicates, and then we're doing a token sale for our members on June 27th, right before we get listed on exchange on the 29th, with just sort of whatever's left between the soft cap and hard cap. But it's really, keep that window small, and instead you kind of have to work with private syndicates more and more now.
Mykyta, you've been nodding to what Lydia said. So community is important, and the quality of the community members obviously is very important. And with your wealth of knowledge of beyond 20 ICOs that you've been providing services to, what's your experience? Does it resonate with you?
I would say, so to double Chris' words, that their actual team is really important too. So you will understand who are those people, you want to meet these people, you want to talk to them in person. So if you have a community outside of your jurisdiction, kind of you're going to Asia, for example, and doing the ICO there, meanwhile you are in the United States, and then you want to meet these people there. And again, messages in community building, messages for community is different from messages for investors. And this is a big part because you want to engage with different audiences in different level and different messages. So I would say this is big stuff that need to understand during the ICO. But at the same time, how to understand that ICO is a scam or not a scam and so on. So it's another big deal for ICO to show the investors that they are not scams, that they are doing really good, or what they are doing, at least something happening, they want to report to investors and to the community. So community will see transparency. So I would say first is transparency, second one is team proficiency, so the team should be knowledgeable for ICO period of time and post-ICO, because those people who made an ICO and was during the ICO, they need to be involved in post-ICO product building and to make proof of concept. More and more companies right now, before they go into ICO, they already have some kind of demo version of their product, a service, a platform, and it helps them a lot to launch a product. And third one, I would say fundraising activities. So such as this event, it's really useful to have conversations with different people from different industries, from different regions of the world, because there can be many different ideas, but at the same time, you need to understand what is your focus and write messages to different audiences, I would say. So this is some key factors for successful ICO.
Thank you, Mykyta. Illia, you've also been nodding also when it came to product. So just a team in the white paper is not good enough nowadays anymore.
Right, I totally agree with Mykyta. Honestly, it's the biggest problem right now, I think, and the situation that I'm being for the last 6 months, being the ICO advisor and working with ICO is white papers that I'm getting and the information about team. Sometimes there is no team members at all, but people ask me to advise them or build an ICO, and I was like, guys, can I see who's your CEO and what is your experience? And they just like, oh, we can show our CEOs because they don't want to be like a public. That's I think it's something very crazy. What kind of joke is that? It's like people reaching you to advise the projects, but they like hiding from public themselves. Yeah, I think it's the most important part is to have a good team and to see the experience and the background to check if it can be scam or not.
Mykyta, you want to add on that?
Yeah, I want just to add that, again, advisors, as you mentioned, is really important. And in many, not many cases, but some cases, so for example, one of our friend, Mika Matsumura, he found himself on many ICOs because he is the top guy, everyone knows him, and he just found him on the website, and it was like, who are these guys? I didn't know them. And people started to contact him and ask him like, is it reliable ICO? Do you know anything about it? And like, no, we don't. Like, who are they?
I have some amount of screenshots. The funniest part when I found the Ryan Gosling on the advisory board. I think it was the most funny one.
The Ryan Gosling one, they raised 800,000 before anyone pointed out that their designer was Ryan Gosling.
Oh my God, yeah. That is obviously a pretty gross example. Christian, were there any ICOs coming to you that you had to decline because you thought, oh no, I keep my hands off. You know, this is not something good I want to bring to the community.
Yeah. So way back when. I used to screen a lot of this ICO myself because I had more time and I didn't have a wife and I didn't have a kid. So a lot more time, right? But as time gone on, we started receiving something like 300 requests per month. And so we end up hiring a due diligence team overseas to screen a lot of these projects. And usually out of 300 a month on average, we actually select either one or two to make the cut. Very selective, right? And we develop a proprietary assessment framework, right? So we look through the business, the tokenomics, the compliance. We have interviews with the team, which are legit, background checks, and so forth. And I can tell you that the majority of these projects, 99.9995%, are moonshots, right? They're definitely scams, so you can recognize the scams, right? It's basically like you read a white paper and realize there's no debt, right? They're basically copying and pasting out a white paper, but there's no debt. And when you pick up the phone, you talk to them, they have no clue of what they're building, right? Or even why. The majority of these projects that we see out there, guys, should not be funded in the first place. They're turned into ICOs because they cannot get the money from regular, traditional ways, VCs and so forth. Let's keep that in mind. And so we get a lot of that. Obviously, it becomes down to bandwidth right now, right? Because unless you have an unlimited amount of people to work on, it becomes down to that, right? We have a company, again, BlockStar, and I sit on the board of a few companies like Superbloom, for example. But I think when I say moonshot, and you're reading this white papers, you feel like these guys really kind of want to build YouTube, right? But not now. They want to build YouTube when it's 1992, when you had a dial-up. Remember the sound of the dial-up? What's the sound of the dial-up? That one. That one, right? You can't build YouTube with a dial-up. You need a broadband. So this is an analogy and example to say that a lot of them are just saying, hey, we want to kind of colonize Mars with blockchain. No, you're not, right? You want to do this with blockchain. You want to cure cancer with blockchain. No, not now, right? So what I'm saying, if you're investing in ICO, if you're putting your money here and there, make sure that you have you know what you're putting your money into, or you ask somebody, a friend that understands that. again, the majority of what we find is pure moonshots, right? There's very few that are very credible, right? So that's the thing number one. My advice number one is either learn as much as you can how to screen these projects, or get somebody that knows how to do it and partner up with him or her.
Thank you. Lydia, do you want to add on that?
I was just going to say we actually just published a blog post about exactly that on Superbloom's blog with an infographic that kind of takes you through sort of like answer yes or no to figure out whether or not you should end up investing in this next ICO.
Thank you. Mykyta.
So our process in our team, we start with consultancy kind of and understand like the product, their draft of white papers. Is it real? Is it what is the technologies people should use, and like is it interesting? And then unfortunately, one out of five is only going through our due diligence. But at the same time, like last year, it was more on financing, so it was less than 50% was private sale, and more than 50% was community crowd sale. This year, it's already 80% of, I would say like more than 50% is private sale, and only like less than 30% is crowd sale. Even though like we're trying to keep it 50-50, but people like want to work with private sale more, and we're trying to help them. So, but investors making their decisions in different ways than just the community, because community analyzing white papers through infographics, reading it like, okay, that's an interesting idea, I want to invest, but there can be like boom ideas like YouTube or something like new YouTube, VR YouTube or something like this. It should have like a lot of investment in it. I mean, like hundreds of $millions, but people cannot go to VC and ask for this money, and because like nobody believes in their teams, so that's why they come to ICO, and it's one of the way how amazing ideas that people come to me and like they showed me so amazing stuff like new world, but I cannot take it because like sometimes it's just too hard to, and it's too early. So
thank you, Mykyta.
I also see the problem in ICO world. Yeah, it's definitely right now everyone doing like mostly the private sales, and we all know why, because right now to say ICO, mostly the people saying, oh, you're doing scam, or it's have like negative emotion on that. Because of it was a lot of scam and a lot of crazy situations. Yeah, happened. I see like another problem also when the projects most of the time kind of like doing the same idea and same concept. So for example, I'm getting like a request for last 2 months for coin based on gold. I mean, I'm getting the requests from like different parts of the world, Dubai, Saudi Arabia, Africa, and it's all the same like topic, like what's ICO related. And it's something interesting that I'm me personally thinking how we can differentiate and see the success, which product can succeed with not, which not, and which project to pick to work with if they all do the same idea. And more I'm thinking about, I think they're creating some kind of like platform that's gonna have industries, that's gonna have regulators, that's gonna have a marketplace, that's gonna have advisory board, the platform that's gonna have even developers if you need, and creating step by step the right projects, kind of like you do on a Kickstarter, but you're not just put your content, because it's all like the same template. Like each ICO is the same template. It's same like white paper, documentation, but creating the one platform where you can put your project and create your project constructor way. I think that's something that can be the future for ICO.
That's a very, very interesting idea. So you're thinking of a sort of ICO toolkit where our partners from the ecosystem can pitch in.
Yeah, let's say I'm starting with my idea, and I'm coming to the platform, and step by step creating the ICO project I'm doing. So figure out what kind of smart contract I'm going to use, what kind of token, my token economics, and also I have regulators who already check in my project on the early stage. So it means that all the project that goes to the platform already regulated internationally or in region where you want to work. And also you can pick the team member, you can pick an advisor, you can pick wherever you want to build it. You can pick the law company you want to work with, and creating the one marketplace around the world where you can see and compare different projects. But let's say one gold coin is already exist. Why we need to have the second one? So we need to have the different idea, because right now the problem, I'm meeting people around the world, they all do the same projects, and I don't know if it's makes sense or not.
I think that's a very interesting idea, and maybe we have people in the room who want to join in on this idea and can approach Illia afterwards and see how we can make that happen.
Yeah, and just I don't know, as we're talking about risks, so another part of the risk management that we have in ICO is other side of it, investors. So as one of our friends from Ukraine mentioned, that we have a lot of stuff with money laundering. So we need to check and make KYC on investors and understand that we want these investors in our ICO, because there are so many people who want to invest, but you never know where this money came from. And there is no not centralized database, but at least good list of people who you cannot work with. Because FBI is working, Interpol is working, and it's on, as told, in PDF document, and you need to, and it's updating every few hours, and you need to manually look for those people. And some of our partners, like Identity Mind, they doing KYC, but I'm not sure if they doing this kind of laundry processes, KYC and investigations, if you can accept or is it good people to take money, because a lot of money came from Eastern Europe. You never know where it's coming from, and we're from that country, so we know what we are talking about.
Okay, there's quite something to do for on the regulatory part, maybe the regulatory industry can help. Is there something that we, for instance, as a crypto exchange, what LATOKEN is, how we could help ICOs? Maybe also to all panelists, if there's something you can wish from us.
I would say, again, in terms of this laundry, then money laundering processes, if blockchain community can unite and make some kind of database on blockchain to make this PDF, make it really useful, and usability will be better for it, so everyone can look at the base and see is it right person or not to work with. So that may work a lot, and it definitely should be on blockchain, and it's more about governance. But again, we should unite all together and go to our congressmen and go to FBI and talk with them, to NSA probably too, and so all the best people, you know. But how to make it, it's hard, but it will be there. One day it will be there, and it will be much easier to understand is it right person to work with.
Thank you. Wishes to the exchanges, how we can help ICOs. Lydia.
Well, just to follow up on your point, I think it would be pretty simple to do that, because there aren't that many companies that are actually doing KYC, and most quality blockchain projects now, when they do KYC, are using a third-party source. Since, I mean, frankly, we don't want everyone's passport. We don't want that liability and the opportunity to be hacked. So it's 20 cents to $3 per KYC if you outsource it to a third-party group, depending on who you use. I think if they, if we just work with those groups to say that when they do the passport uploading, they require the photo of the person holding the passport, because frankly, I know people who have stacks of international passports they're using for trading, and it's something that they need the real face to match the passport. And then if there's a list of people, identities who should not be getting access and being approved through KYC, then I think you just need to work with those I think it's like 5 to 10 companies that are really who everyone's using for KYC. On the exchange side, I think the most important thing is to really align incentives between the exchange and the users, so that you know that the exchange is getting quality deals and has a reason to vet the deals. At Superbloom, we're doing this just by not taking listing fees, so we don't actually get any listing fees for taking any old project and recommending it to our members. I think you always have to ask the exchanges, what is your business model? If they're making money by taking any old coin, that's a huge red flag for working with that exchange. And I think instead you really need to figure out, okay, are they investing in these tokens as well? What benefits them from sharing these with their members? And that way, the exchanges are doing a better job of vetting the deals. And working with BlockStar companies that actually have due diligence.
So how about if the exchange does due diligence and listing?
I think it's an interesting question. I think I echo what Lydia said. I think there's definitely has to be some sort of connections between the exchange and the users. And going back to your question, I think it defines like, I think it's hard to please everyone, right? You can't really please everyone. There are going to be users or company, define what you mean a user, but there are going to be companies listing utility tokens. There are going to be companies listing security tokens. There are going to be users interested in investing in utility tokens and users interested in investing in securities, right? So I would say if you're playing in the security space, right, one way that you can help users is get all the clears and check marks that you need from regulators, right? There's going to be 10 exchanges focusing on security coming live this year. 10. We're going to see many, many more in the coming years. But getting that stamp of approval, that clear from the regulators, not only ensures the user that can actually use the platform to trade their tokens, right, whether they're utility or tokens, but also gives them the peace of mind, right, that they can actually do so in a legal manner, right? One of the reasons why we don't have a lot of security exchanges right now approved by regulators is because in order for you to operate legally a security exchange in most countries, you need to track where the tokens are coming from and the tokens are going to. And you can do that if there is a connection between exchanges. So creating that interoperability between the exchanges is critical as a foundation to enable that tracking before and after that regulators need and want in order to kind of give you some sort of kind of rubber stamp license to do so. There's a company called Coinschedule, probably most of you have heard of them, Coinschedule, that is actually building this interoperability framework between exchanges. So if you're doing an exchange, or you're operating an exchange, or you're thinking about coming up with one, look into them. Coinschedule. I was speaking with the CEO in Dubai at a conference, and they should come online in the next 3 to 6 months. So, food for thought.
Thank you very much. In view of the advanced time, I mean, I think this discussion could go on endlessly, but unfortunately, we have to come to an end. And I want to ask a last question to every single one of you, and that is, we have currently around about 1,600 coins out there. How many will we have in 3 years' time? How many tokens and coins? Currently 1,600. There may be a major shakeout. There may be a build-up. There may be both. So maybe from left to right, how many coins will be out there in 3 years' time? Christian, you're first.
Well, I'm not a fortune teller, so I cannot tell you what
the
future holds.
Now.
I can only tell you that in 2017, 74% of the SEO already failed. 74%. So I don't know what's going to happen, but if that's a prediction, we're going to see a lot more failing than starting up. By the way, 74% In VC term, it's an amazing number because it means that 26 are still alive. Now, doesn't mean that they went up to $1 billion valuations, right? There are no unicorns yet. They're lingering. Probably to 26, half is gonna go up in valuations or not. But these are the statistics, guys. So I'm sure we're gonna see a lot more tokens.
So you won't give us a number?
1 billion tokens. How's that for an answer?
Okay, Lydia.
Yeah, I mean, to echo what you were saying, it's still a lot better than VCs are looking for, maybe 5% in their portfolio. So it's not too bad. And last I checked, if you had invested in every token sale in 2017, you still would have 13x'd your money. That was a Mangrove Institute or some sort of research that was probably before crypto winter hit. I would say there's probably going to be fewer than 100 of those tokens that actually are continuing to function in a meaningful way, and another 500 which are basically zombie companies because they've invested their treasury enough to continue going and keep the community happy. But they really will just be, like many startups are, sort of zombie companies and not going anywhere. But it's also, I think, the problem is they can't, there's no liquidation event. So it's not as though if you have VC money, you're going to eventually do an acquisition or an acqui-hire. If you have tokens, for the most part, I mean, you continue to exist as a zombie company because you can't sell all of your tokens and be purchased. It's a completely different entity. That I think is going to be the most interesting thing that happens in the next 2 years. And you have companies like Filecoin that have taken both VC and token sales and figure out what happens to those companies. I'm most curious about.
Thank you. So 100 plus 500 zombies.
50 real, 500 zombie, and the
Okay, 50 and 500. Thank you. Mykyta, how many tokens will be there in 3 years' time?
I don't know, I cannot tell the number, and I would not even think about it, but what I really think that it will be stable coins. So only stable coins will be alive, and it just will take some time. So in new book of Andrew Romans, Rubicon Capital, he wrote some notes about stablecoin and how should it be and what should be your investors, that they should be loyal, they need to keep tokens as long as possible and make your coin as stable as possible. So those guys who will be the most, it's not like a short run, it's a marathon. So this is the biggest idea of their ICO and coins, that you need to be have your reputation for longer just an ICO period, but post ICO and build your company. And the same with stocks on IPO. You making some boom and then it's going down and then it's raising up and up and up. So the same with coins on ICO. It's going bad and then it should start to go up and up, and then Bitcoin happens.
Right, thank you. Illia, you have the last word. How many tokens in 3 years' time?
I think it's the same question as you can ask what price of Bitcoin going to be, right?
I wanted to avoid that question. That's why I'm asking that.
It's hard to predict. I think around 5,000.
Right
now it's almost 2,000, right?
I think 1,700.
Yeah.
1,000 ICOs are in the pipeline, so...
I think around 5,000. But also, I think interesting moment that's we know that top 10 coins got invested by big corporations and big companies. So the next step is when the big player is going to start playing the game. I'm saying like Amazon, Google, Facebook. I don't think there is any way for them not to create their own coins. So it will be something interesting because that's when we can see how Bitcoin compared to Amazon or Google gonna have the price and value of the coin. So it's like a .com bubble when a lot of startups start playing in the game. So coins gonna grow and a lot of coins gonna lose as well.
Thank you very much. So growth and losing, that will be two sides of the same medal. Thank you very much to the panel. It was a big pleasure having you and discussing with you. And thank you very much to the crowd for your interest. And I wish you a very good day and many other good sessions. Thank you.
Thank you so much.